Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to play pretty much my most played tank that I haven't actually played properly for a very, very long time. We're going to talk about the Death Star, the FV215B183, and how and why it is the most played tank in the game, but also the worst performing tank in the game since like forever. Of course, it is a tank that everybody wants. Like, it's always been the case ever since I even started the game. In fact, I played the Death Star on a friend's account back when I first started, and I then just golded the whole line, like completely golded, 3 XP'd the whole AT line to get to this tank. And that is what everybody was doing. And even now, like almost 10 years on, people are still playing the Death Star, and they are still not performing well in the Death Star. So it's the most played tank, but also it is the worst performing tank by a long shot. So hit points doesn't, 1900 hit points. The armor is pretty much non-existent. However, you can occasionally get a troll bounce on the turret. You can't rely on the armor, but it basically has no armor whatsoever. 132 on that turret is the best you're going to get. So the DPM is 2862. To be fair, considering the reload, that isn't actually a bad DPM. We are running calibrated shells, so you can get that to about 3000 if you run it with the rammer. But you don't want to run it with the rammer because this thing has hesh. So your reload time is pretty much the longest in the game for a single shot gun, and that is 20 seconds. Yes, 20 seconds. So that's basically 3 shots every minute. You need to make it worthwhile. Of course, you can up that DPM. 3 shots in a minute, you can actually get 1500 shot damage per shot. So yeah, you can actually get the DPM up to 4500, maybe even a little bit more than that if you are lucky. So your penetration is 315 on your AP, so pretty decent AP pen, and 242 on that hesh. If you do run the cheap hesh, you know, the penetration is less, but 88 pen, the alpha is pretty much a little bit more as well. So it's worth running a couple because you might come up against a grill and you might do a little bit more damage. So your aim time 4.2, the gun dispersion 0.407. Of course, we don't expect them to be good at all. And of course, you only have 5 degrees of gun depression, which really, really does suck. Top speed is 35 kilometers per hour, average speed of 25. So yeah, it is a pretty slow tank as well. It's one of those tanks that you either love it or you hate it. You either love it or you hate it, and it's one of those that one shot, just one shot, can change the outcome of the game. Whether that will be a shot that you miss and then you go to end up losing, or it could be a shot where you bring a tank down to a one shot, or of course it is one of the best tanks in the game to ammo rack as well. So it is a it can be a one-shot wonder, but it can be also the most frustrating tank in the game. Honestly, it can be very, very, very frustrating, which is what we're going to see here. Now, here I don't do the best amount of damage. We don't win either, but I'll show you that how one shot can change the outcome of the game. Now, I always say, when you are running a big tank like this or a big gun like this, even if a tank is on low hit points, I would still use HE, because HE on this thing, even just splashing the tank, can still do 500-600 damage. So if there is a tank on 200 to 300, even 400 sometimes, it is worth just going for the splash shot. Now, of course, because you do try to use that hesh more often than not, it is a high risk, high reward. You're not always going to do full damage, and you may only just splash them. So I didn't want to go for the HE against that T62. I just wanted to get him down. I didn't want to risk just doing a couple of hundred and then him being able to take out the back chap that is up there. and then we lose the heal. So I thought if I just use the AP, he will then be a one-shot, and our Batchat can take him out. Now, these one-shots that can change the outcome, there is one of them. You know, I went for the HE. He was side on. I should have just gone with AP. I know I've still done a little bit of damage because I put him on fire, but that was one shot there where I should have actually used AP, but I didn't go. I didn't, and it is going. I'm going to pay the price a bit later on. So there's another shot against the mouse. At the minute, I'm okay back here. You know, I'm full hit points. I've got a rock for a bit of cover. I've got the Kranvagen down there that will take the attention of these guys, and then I've got other team as well. So of course, at the minute, I am going to get shot, but I do want to take care of that STB again. That shot there. I could have just wiped him out, but the HE didn't allow me to, and then he is still alive, which means the Batchat is going to take him out, but it just means he has to actually take a couple of shots against that STB, where he could have actually taken a couple of shots against someone else. Again, that shot there, any one of these shots could have actually changed the outcome of the game. No idea even where that shot went, to be honest, but I could have taken out the mouse there. In fact, I didn't, which really does suck. So I do go for the mouse here to bring it down to a 2 versus 3. I am still full hit points. I did manage to get a lucky bounce, but now we are in a bit of a situation because I don't want to just rush in. There's a Death Star on the enemy team that is also full hit points. And also there is a FV4005 over there. So I don't want to just rush in. We have time. We've got 4 minutes. But we really need to take out this FV215B. So this is where I'm thinking, okay, do you know what? He's on 400. He's on 400 hit points. I can just splash this guy and I will be able to take him out, no problem whatsoever. All I need is for our Batchat to stay alive, but sadly he doesn't. So now I'm on my own against 3 tanks, but even at this point I'm like, you know, I can do this, and you know, even here, look at that. Seriously, how troll is that? I leave him on 56 freaking hit points, and now because I've left him alive, anything can actually happen. Now, luckily, the FV4005 is a one-shot. The FV now 215B is now a one-shot. However, the Death Star is the one to worry about. He can take me out with one shot. I need to take one of these guys out, and I need to take him out quickly. Oh, hello, Death Star. I do manage to go for him. Unfortunately, I do get shot, and that was a very nice roll from that Death Star, but I rolled him high as well. So every single tank on the field now is a one-shot. No idea what this FV is doing. He misses the first time. Is he going to miss the second time? No, he bounces. So I think he's actually reloading. So that is where I did mess up. Now, I'm going to also mess up a little. Well, I'm not going to mess up. The only thing I could do at this point is back up. The only thing I can do is back up, and hopefully he thinks I'm reloading and just stays there. But with just 2 seconds left to go, he does know my reload, and he does take me out. So other than that, you know, there was a few shots there that I just messed up completely, absolutely completely, but it is what it is. Next up, we're going to have the exact same thing happen to this guy here, Fire. Now, again, the thing with the Death Star, and this is what people love about the Death Star, is of course the Alpha. It's the only thing. There is nothing else about this tank that people will love apart from the Alpha. Like, it's impossible to love the tank in any other way. Now, back in the day, this used to just be able to sit at the back of the map, unspotted, and just farm. Now, you can still do that, but they've lowered the, so you could be spotted from even further away, so which is unfortunate, but some people used to say that this tank was broken. It doesn't need to be in the game. It shouldn't be in the game. It breaks the game. It's not fair. I completely disagree with all of that, because it's one of those tanks that you could get a shot off for 1500 damage and you can sort of high roll, but then potentially that could be the only shot in the game that you have, because if you then get rushed by medium tanks or auto loaders, then that could be the end of your game. You've got a 20-second reload. If you get rushed by 2 mediums, you're dead. you are literally dead before you've even reloaded. So yeah, it is one of those tanks that is frustrating because, again, the aim time, the dispersion, they're not very good. So if you do miss your shot, you could end up doing 0 damage very, very, very easily. Again, it is one of those tanks where you can aim and aim and aim and then still miss your shot, which is frustrating. Or it could be one of those tanks where you just snapshot and it like, wow, how the hell did that hit? So yeah, it's you know, it's always going to be a popular tank because of the alpha. Always because of that 1500 to 1600 alpha you can do. Now again, that shot there, unfortunately he did miss, and that shot there could potentially be the difference between a win and a loss for this guy here. So people love it. I mean, you could have 3 shots in a game and do over 4,000 damage. There's not many tanks out there that can do that, unless, of course, you're in a tank destroyer with high alpha or you ammo rack someone, then of course. But yeah, it's one of those 3,000 damage, maybe even with AP, 3,000 damage, 3 shots, and happy days, you've done your job. But of course, you want more than that. You want more than 3,000 damage in this thing. Yeah, and that is why it is really popular. And again, it's the lowest performing tank in the game because of just the tank's nature. You know, the reload, everyone focuses it. Literally everybody will focus a Death Star if they see a Death Star. If there's 3 tanks all lined up in a row and one of them is a Death Star, you should be going for that Death Star, because again, it is one of those tanks that can just in seconds change an outcome of the game. Like here, for example, or like I just said a minute ago, if he would have got that shot against this VZ55, this guy would be dead right now. He would be dead. These guys would still have hit points. The WZ113 is just about almost dead, and it could have changed the outcome. Well, he is now dead. So again, that could have changed the outcome of the game because it's now a 4 versus 4. This VZ55 is still alive until now, and again, it's one shot. One shot is all it takes to change the outcome of a game, whether that will be for the good or for the worst. So 3,700 damage. It's a 3 versus 3 at the minute. Hello, AMX50B. Look how juicy that is. Unfortunately, he does get on the lower side, and again, he keeps him alive, which again can change the outcome of the game, but for this situation, it didn't really change the outcome. So here is the Minotauro now. Our guy, I love what this Death Star does, to be fair. He's willing to take some damage to keep his teammates alive. So luckily he gets a bounce there, but unluckily he gets a bounce on the Minotaur. If he would have just waited a split second, then he may have been able to get that shot off, and again, it may have been a different outcome. Now, what he's trying to do here, he's trying to get in the way of the gun, but actually I think that is the wrong move. The Minotaur is actually turning to face the other tank. He could have just sat behind him. He could have used HE, and again, it could have been a completely different outcome. So it's now a 2 versus 1. He's pretty much going to be on a 1 shot here. And yeah, it's very hard to carry at this point. When you're a 2 versus 1, with the reload that this tank has got, it's very, very hard to carry in a Death Star, and that is 20-second reload or 18.5-second reload for this guy. So he's still done a decent job though. He still managed to get a bounce, and luckily the Minotauro there, that must have been just 1 shell. He must have reloaded just 1 shell, which means he's now on a big long reload. And this is where at this point he either needs a very high roll or he needs to get lucky with HE, but sadly he doesn't do either, and it is going to be game over. So he put up a good fight. He did put up a good fight, but sadly, again, the Death Star is not really the perfect tank to be carrying in. So let me know your thoughts on the FV215B183. Is it a tank that you love, or is it a tank that you can't stand and you just wished it was never in the game? Let me know in the comments below. But for now, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye-bye.